Right, this is a very, very thorny topic here because I sit in the middle of this and say, okay, well, this whole distance chase, this forgiveness or distance, you know, the guys now are hitting it, you know, miles. Next week at the Open, you know, if it's certain conditions, these guys would hardly hit a driver because it goes too far. You need to weaponize driver. There's no doubt if you're an aspiring decent player, you better be good with driver because that's what these guys now are measured on. Ball speeds in the 180s, even now 170s, almost not enough ball speed. These guys are pushing 180, 190s. How do you weaponize driver? Well, the faces now are getting thinner, they're getting faster. Okay, maybe liable to, you know, break basically under certain conditions. The miss is so much quicker now off the miss. But what I would say is look to optimize the laws of physics. Can you optimize the collision in terms of the launch and the spin? Remember, 13, 14, 15 launch with 2-2 spin. Once you start dipping under 2000 spin, you're in danger of that dippy one that just falls out the sky. So you want some spin. So guys that look at this 17-17 type scenario, 17 launch and 1700 RPM, that's okay. But once you get that to 12, you're in trouble. That's when you get the old nose diving hook or the sliding block fade. So I like to see sort of spin at 2.2, 2.4. You've got some control then, and then you're looking at optimizing the dispersion off the back of that. A lot of that is down to path. You see some guys now, they're getting a little bit too much on the up, too much on the inside. Their D-plane's starting to get a little bit spicy, and they can sometimes have that nasty miss that does that on them and just turns over and hooks, especially with a slightly toe strike. And it can only be 5 or 10 mil at the toe, which isn't a huge amount, and it gives them a massive issue. Remember, the more you hit it at the toe, the less the spin is, and the more you're liable to get that sort of high lollipop swan. But if that's not launching up in the air, it's coming out flat. Remember that sort of, you know, days of SLDR where you had no spin on the ball. You had to have loads and loads of loft to get it in the air. We're trying to almost avoid that problem, but it's that similar type of high launch, low spin nirvana. Those of you lucky enough to sort of see McIlroy hit it, it's unbelievable. It just goes like an absolute missile up in the air and just stays there. And he has got it worked out, to be fair. But middle of the strike, centre of strike is God. If you mishit it over the face, look for the length of the shaft to change, look for something to change, because if you can't hit it dead up the middle, you're going to have problems, because then dispersion becomes vicious and it becomes a 40, 50 yard miss as opposed to a 20, 15 yard miss. But distance is obviously there. You have to embrace it. You've got to try and, I won't say chase it, but you've definitely got to try and get yourself as optimized as possible, whatever that may be. It may be changing from a TaylorMade to a Callaway, or out of a Ping to a TaylorMade or Titleist, or whatever it may be. You might have to move out your comfort zone. Sometimes being uncomfortable, it's not a bad thing.